the day, middle of the day. What do you know about yoga? It can, but also as far as for PE, it helps you with your strength and balance and flexibility, yes. So all key components of fitness, so that's why it fits in nicely with a PE class. So you're not limited to just one of those three, and there's lots of benefits of yoga, lots of definitions of yoga. So as we mentioned service yoga, but also there's yoga of devotion, and there's different types of yoga. So the type of yoga I'm going to show you today is called Hatha yoga, and that's Hatha. And so there's a language associated with yoga, and that's called Sanskrit, and it usually comes from India. And so today I'll interchange words. So I'll tell you in English and in Sanskrit. So you're getting, this is totally cross-curricular. I understand. So you're getting a lot today. So again, our natural soundtrack, Mother Nature at her finest, right? So could everyone sit in a comfortable sitting position? So this is actually a pose in itself. Yesterday I taught kindergarten yoga, so I have 3 groups of kindergartners that I teach, and they love this. So they think of this as crisscross applesauce, but the name for it in Sanskrit is Sukhasana, but just easy sitting pose. So as you sit, I want you to make sure, so your sit bones, if you guys have taken an anatomy class, they're your ischial tuberosities, so that's where you want to sit, so on your sit bones, right? And you want to sit up as tall as you can. So sort of as you feel your glutes, sit as tall as you can. So one thing about yoga is developing strength. And you guys are young, so you haven't spent too much time leaning over your computer, although maybe some of you have. But a lot of times when you're older, you lose strength and flexibility in your spine. And so it's important to engage in activity in yoga to help strengthen and keep those muscles limber. So sitting tall, but you don't want your shoulders way up here, so everyone do that. Be really exaggerated, but then take an exhale and just sit. So I don't notice if any of you, and some of you girls, guys, may be able to do lotus pose if you're really flexible, if you've been a gymnast or a dancer maybe. Right, and there you go. What's your name? I can't hear that, I'm sorry, but she's in lotus, and if that's what lotus looks like. And so that's like a traditional when you see, and so I also see here some mudra, right? And you don't have to do that at all. There's a meaning to it, but basically it's about being comfortable. So people that have practiced yoga for a long time can sit in this position and sit in meditation. Because honestly, the physical practice of yoga is supposed to prepare you for meditation. So what I like to show you today, you're going to learn about 7, 8, 9 different poses, but I also want you to learn about breathing, because that's part and parcel of yoga. So yoga, the word is, in Sanskrit it means yoke or union, so it's a union of body, spirit, mind, breath. So anything you do in yoga with these physical practices, postures, you need to breathe. So every movement you link with the breath. So remember that always. Because think about it in life, if you stop breathing, you usually stop living. So you've got to always be breathing. So as you're sitting in this easy sitting pose, or if you're in Padmasana lotus pose, I want you to close your eyes. So I know that there's a lot of background noise, but that's okay. So I want you to start practicing this breathing technique that's called Ujjayi breath. And it's in through your nose and out through your nose. And you have a slight restriction on your throat, so it's sort of like Darth Vader or the ocean. But just close your eyes, and so practice that. So take about 10 deep breaths. So just really tune everything else out. And just breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. slowly open up your eyes. Now, one thing that I always like to share with all my classes, whether you're a kindergartner or you're a junior, senior, whatever you're in high school, is that you guys have a lot of stress in your life. Maybe it's from entrance to college, your SATs, ACTs, or just tests. So try to find a time when that stress is so high, take some breaths. That's a good strategy for you to use. Or if you had a fight with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your siblings, whatever. So that's also the gift of yoga, to being able to just kind of tune everything out. So I know we've got this distraction with the rain on the roof, but that's all good. You're supposed to tune it all out. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, I want to show you a few postures today, and eventually you're going to get moving. But I want you to remember something that's really important in yoga. Every single one of us has a different body here, and then each of us do different things. Some of you, how many of you play sport? Okay, how many play instrument? You know, you do whatever you do, so your practice is going to be very different. So don't worry about what anyone else looks like, just worry about you. So with that being said, I want you to start off in a pose called child pose. So I want you to keep your knees together, and I want you to hinge at your hips. So try to take your hips as close as you can to your heels, and I'm just going to move that. You want your forehead to melt into the mat and your fingertips walking towards the end, the front of your mat. So this pose is called Balasana pose. It's child pose. So the goal of this pose is for you to one day get your hips all the way down on your heels. But again, if you have really tight hamstrings, hips, that's not going to be as easy. So don't worry about it. But with your breath, when you take an inhale, that creates space in your body. So with your exhale, then you can get a little bit deeper. So I want you to take about 5 breaths in this expression. And when I say expression, it's just this part of the pose, because there's about 5 different ways to do child pose. And I'm going to show you 5 actually. So know that there is no right or wrong pose, but the right or wrong comes in your alignment. And so that's important, so you stay safe. Because it's possible to get injured in yoga if you're not doing it correctly. But go ahead and take one more deep breath here. Now I want you to slowly walk your fingertips over to the left side of your mat. So stay melting into the mat, but slowly just walk your fingertips to the left. And if you do the right side, no big deal. You're going to even it out. So this, if you can feel this in your side body. So you're starting to work the sides of your body here. So you're going to take about 3 more breaths. And again, with each exhale, try to walk your fingertips further over to the left. So onto the gym floor. And you're still sinking your hips back towards your heels, and your fingers, it's like you're tractioning your fingers forward. Now go ahead and come back to center. And then now with your exhale, take your fingertips to the right. Or again, whatever side you didn't do. It doesn't matter. So remember, again, you always use your breath. And if you forget to breathe, that's okay. Just come back to it. Now take one more breath to this side, whatever side you're on. And then slowly go ahead and walk your fingers, your hands back through center lane. Now what I want you to do is take, what I didn't mention is this narrow stance with your knees together, you're rounding your spine. So if you guys ever do a lot of back bends, this is what you do to counter that. Now I want you to walk your knees wide. So make your knees frame the mat and your big toes are touching. So this is a wide stance in child pose. So you adjust a little bit, but you're still folding over your hips. Now the difference for this posture is going to be that you're going to feel this in your hips. So some people prefer this. I know I like this expression of the pose a little bit better than the other, but every day is different. So once again, you're melting into the mat. So this is a very relaxing pose. In the adult class I teach, we use this as a resting pose. So if you are doing a pose and you get overheated or you feel I need a break, this is something great to come into. Now take about one more breath here and really try to get your hips back as close as you can to your heels. Now slowly go ahead and bring your knees together, and this time swing your arms back behind you. So you're taking away the shoulder stretch. So your arms are behind you, your palms are up. So now think about it. This is truly what a child pose looks like. When you had your arms extended, that was extended child pose. So this is just no shoulder stretch. You're just kind of very comfortable. So again, feel free when you're at home or in times when you feel you need a break, come into this. It's very relaxing. It can be very therapeutic. Now take one more breath here. Now slowly, I want you to come on your hands and knees. So transition to your hands and knees. You're finding a pose is called tabletop. So make sure that your palms are right under your shoulders. And as you do that, use your hand. So use the heel of your hand, your whole palm, and spread your fingers wide. So you don't want to dump all the weight into your wrist. That's a common yoga injury. When you start, you put too much weight into your wrists. Now look and make sure your knees are directly below your hips. So find a straight spine. So once again, yoga is so much, and I just saw a post on one of the yoga studios that I've visited on someone's x-ray. After about 3 months of practice, their spine had straightened. It had a major curve in January, and by March actually, you could see. So the powers of yoga, if you practice regularly, yeah, it's pretty awesome. But again, take your gaze a couple feet out in front of you. So this is called tabletop pose. This is kind of a transition pose. So you want your spine straight so that if I came by, I could set a water bottle on it. Now we're going to go through 5 rounds of what are called cat and cow. So this is just lightly kind of opening up the low back. So I want you to drop your abdomen down and take your gaze up to the ceiling. This is called cow pose. And then on your exhale, really squeeze your abdomen, so pull up and back on your navel and make a cat spine. So like think of a mean Halloween cat. Now with your own breath, I want you to go and flow. So drop your abdomen, look up for cat, and then with your exhale, round. So round as hard as you can, so really emphasize. Yeah, very good. So now 3 more, and move at your breath. So again, your mat, yoga is a practice that is usually done in groups, but it's so nice you have your own mat so you can get what you need out of this. So if you like to move a little bit more flowy, if you will, or faster, you can. But just be very cognizant of linking your breath to your movement. And again, when you do those cat poses, really squeeze your abdomen as tight as you can. There's also in weightlifting, there's a little move that's called a vacuum, where you squeeze your abdomen so it looks concave. It's a great exercise you can do in lieu of crunches. So go ahead and take 1 more round each. So again, dropping your abdomen down, and then make your last cat. Squeeze your navel as tight as you can. Last 3, 2, 1. Now go ahead and hinge back on your hips to heels and come into 1 breath in child pose. So again, just melting into the mat. So a lot of times you'll transition to child pose in between. And again, anytime when we're doing this practice, it's not super vigorous, but if you want to come down to this, do so. Because again, that's what you need. Now carefully come back up to your tabletop pose. Now walk your hands just 1 print. So take your hands 1 print at a time in front. Now tuck your toes, lift your hips, find downward facing dog. So this pose in Sanskrit is Adho Mukha Svanasana. So downward facing dog. Now you want to make sure, you guys are all just about, or mostly taller than me. But you want about a 4 to 5 foot inverted V between your hands and your feet. So with your hands, again, make sure that your fingers are spread wide and they're shoulder distance apart. So this is especially where you can start to feel some discomfort in your wrist. Be really mindful of your hands. You want to use all 5 fingers, the heel, your palm. Now with your feet, they're hip distance apart. So the goal of this pose is to try to one day get your heels touching the floor. And again, some of you are very close and some of you no way, and that's me, not close at all. But really use your breath. Now what I want you to do is shake your head yes, no, left, right. So if you've had a bad day thus far, Don't squint, don't scowl. Just stick your tongue out and roll your eyes. So get rid of a little tension here. Now everyone come down to your knees and take one breath in child pose, because I want to give you a break here. So I know that that's hard, so think about that. That is almost up into a full plank, so you're using your upper body to hold your entire body weight up. So it's challenging. It's challenging for a lot of adults that I teach. So go ahead and inhale and come back into that downward facing dog. So again, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Now I want you to walk your dog. So bend opposite knees. So just left, right. And when you're in this posture, you should feel this in the backs of your leg. So I really want you to try to take your breath to the backs of your legs. So I know that that sounds weird. Take my breath there. What are you talking about? Well, yoga develops a body awareness as well. So you can sort of just say, all right, I'm tightening the hips. I'm taking my breath all the way down the back of my leg, all the way to my Achilles, to my heel. Now, come back to center. Now what I want you to do is do a three-legged dog. So take a deep breath in and kick your right leg high to the sky, point your toe. So now really try to get that left heel down to the mat. Again, release your head weight. So don't look to your palms, just look, your gaze kind of looks staring at your nose. Now exhale, bring the right foot down. Now inhale your left leg high to the sky, point the toe, and exhale down. Now take your feet wide. So now let's do a wide-legged dog, downward facing dog. So you feel the differences. In yoga, you want to feel a little bit of difference. So it could be as little as just a slight movement to the left, right. Feel the differences in the sides of your body. Now come down to your knees, take a wide stance of child pose. So bring your big toes together, sink your hips back. I want you to take 3 breaths here. And then you're going to get ready. I'm going to teach you a half sun salutation. And some of you may have seen this before, and some of you may not. But again, it doesn't matter. Yoga is for everyone. And when I teach adults, sometimes I have people who take yoga 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, or someone who has never tried it, and it works for everyone. Again, I can't emphasize enough, just worry about what you're doing and how your body feels. So if your body ever sends you this little message like, ouch, that hurts, if it's a sharp shooting pain, back off, stop immediately. But if you feel like an achy, uncomfortable feeling, maybe when you were doing those downward facing dogs, you felt, oh my gosh, that is really excruciating. Well, just try to breathe through it. That's another thing yoga can teach you, patience. All right, go ahead and slowly, carefully come into tabletop pose and then tuck your toes, lift your hips, back downward facing dog. Now take 1 breath. Now I want to practice this with you guys. So I taught you Ujjayi breaths in through the nose, out through the nose, but I wanted you guys to do a cleansing breath. The first class, that just didn't work so well. So it's breathing in through the nose and then breathe out, exhale as loud as you can through your mouth. So take a deep breath in and exhale. All right, awesome. Now go ahead and see that the rain started so no one heard you. Okay, so go ahead and slowly walk your feet up to your hands. Now, when you come to the top of the mat, take a bend in your knee, and I want you to just ragdoll up. So come up nice and slow. So it's like, I don't know if any of you ever heard of Raggedy Ann or Raggedy Andy. Probably not, but just no form, just, okay. So now, find what's called Tadasana pose. So I'll stand in the middle. So I want you to heels together, toes touching, and stand up as tall as you can. So this is called Tadasana, but it's also called mountain pose. I had an instructor, one of my favorite teachers, that said it's tada, like tada, Tadasana. It's kind of silly, but a lot of yoga teachers make it as fun as possible, right? So you're going to fully engage. So if you think of a mountain, the characteristics of a mountain, tall, strong. So as you root down through 4 corners of both feet, you want to zip your legs together. So really emphasize squeezing your inner thighs together. And so you want to use your quadriceps and lock your knees as much as you can. Then soften your shoulders. So again, this isn't a statuesque pose, but it's strong. So if your shoulders are way up here, just exhale, release. So this is a standing balancing pose. And for some people, it's challenging to even stay upright. Especially when I work with little kids. When I work with kindergartners, their balance is way off. So you guys are older, this works for you easier. So I'm going to show you what's called half sun salutation. In Sanskrit, it's Ardha, which is half, Surya Namaskar. So I'll show you once, and then you guys will come right in with me. So there's no jumping or anything yet. That's after we build. So in yoga, the goal is to make those connections with your body and breath, but also to build fire with your breath and movement. So it's something like this. It's inhale, arms up, and then exhale, swan dive. If you guys want to join in, you can. Swan dive forward. I'm going to leave it there. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. And then you're going to root down through your feet. Inhale, arms up, reverse your swan dive, take a back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, arms down. This is called samastihi, which is equal standing pose. So this is a good place to just bring your thumbs to your sternum. You remember that from anatomy where your sternum is? So you just kind of ignite that and then bring your hands down. So find your Tadasana pose. So close your eyes. Listen to this rain. Take one breath. Now flutter your eyes open. We'll get started. So again, move with your breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway up, monkey pose. Nice straight spine. So actually stay here. So your palms should either be on your shins, or if you can keep them on the floor, but you want to make sure that your spine is straight. So with your gaze, take it a couple feet out in front of you. All right, then forward fold. And now, really root down through your feet. Inhale, arms at your side, reverse your swan dive, take a back bend. So very light, just drop your head back. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, arms down. So I'm going to lead you one more time, and then I want you guys to do 3 on your own, just at your breath, okay? Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Again, move with your breath. Inhale, halfway up, monkey pose. Exhale, forward fold. Now root down through your feet. Inhale, arms at your side, reverse your swan dive. So shine your heart, your chest, your hips forward, find a back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, arms down. So now I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Your rhythm, your unique rhythm. Try 3 on your own. And I'll walk around, but go ahead and start whenever you want. So inhale, arms up. Exhale. A lot of times in class I just say inhale, exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Good. Now inhale, reverse your swan dive, find a back bend. So with each one, try to get a little bit deeper. So your hips forward, your heart, your chest. Good. So 2 more. You guys got it. And if you need to bend at your knees, go ahead. If your hamstrings are really tight and you can't touch the floor, then put a soft bend in your knee. That is totally okay. The goal is to lock out, but good. So think, at least we're not out doing this in the rain. That would be very uncomfortable. So everyone take 1 more, and then we're going to build onto that. Very good. So I know that that's not a lot of movement, but it's a way to warm up your joints a little bit. So I did notice some of you, maybe your hamstrings are really tight. You've been sitting most of the day already, so that's okay. So remember, you can always put a soft bend. So if you can't touch your toes like this, and I've already practiced yoga. I was in the gym already early this morning, way early, probably when you guys went to bed. You can put that soft bend. So now we're going to do what's called Sun Salutation A. So it's called Surya Namaskara A. This is a little more advanced. There's lots of levels. So I can show you different levels. But I want to show you the most basic that I want you guys to do first. So again, it can be very similar. So it's inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Now I'll show you first. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale. Now, you step your left leg back and then your right leg back. So this is high plank. So how many of you guys ever do planks? Okay? So with a high plank or a forearm plank, you've got to be set up for success because you're supporting all of your body weight. So make sure, again, remember, this is where the wrists really come into play here. You do not put all the weight in the wrist. So it's you're zipping up and you're creating that ramp. Now, the next move is a push-up. So it's a fancy name called chaturanga, but it's a push-up. So if you can do a push-up with your elbows hugging by the side of your body, you drop your body down, and then you come up to what is called cobra pose, a back bend, and then you tuck your toes, downward facing dog. You take a breath, then you step forward, come back up. So you see it's just adding the leg. Now I'll show you one more stage that maybe you'll get to today, maybe not. But it's all about if you feel confident and if you're strong. Now what I do want to mention, and I definitely mentioned this the first class, if push-ups are not your strong suit, that's okay. You modify, drop your knees, and just do a modified push-up, not a girl push-up, it's a modified push-up. So inhale, arms up, exhale, and if you want to practice with me, you can. But I'm just showing you the next level would be to jump back, and then drop down, and then come up, back, take a breath, then jump forward. So that is not even the most advanced way, but it's advanced enough. So what I always tell my adult students is you really listen to your body. So if you can't jump back safely, then you don't jump back. So I would encourage all of you for these first times to just walk your legs back and then walk them forward. So again, it's something just like any sport. You've got to practice, and you can build that strength. So you can, the goal is actually not even to jump, it's to float. So I'm not there yet. So floating yoga is not me. So let's try sun salutation A. I'm going to walk through the first couple. We're going to do several. All right? So everyone, find your Tadasana pose. So toes touching, heels touching, zip your legs up. Really engage your inner thighs. Soften your shoulders so your palms are facing forward. So find a spot somewhere, whether it's on the opposite walls, and just chin parallel. And so that's just a point of focus. So it's just to come back to. Now inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Again, if you need to bend your knee, do so. Inhale, halfway up, monkey pose. Exhale, forward fold. Now step your left leg back, followed by your right leg. High plank. Now zip your legs up. Now if you need to modify, drop down to your knees, and then exhale down, chaturanga, or push up. And then inhale, roll over the tops of your feet. This is called cobra pose. It's a low back bend. And tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Shake your head, yes. No, left, right. Step your right leg forward. Then your left leg forward. Inhale, halfway up, monkey pose. Exhale, forward fold. Now root down to your feet. Inhale, arms at your side. Hips forward, heart forward, chest forward, back in. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, arms down. All right, let's do 3 more. I'm going to do the first one with you, and then I'm over again. I'll let you guys go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. So again, don't forget to breathe. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Step your left leg back, followed by your right leg. Zip your elbows in. Now either drop to your knees or come into a full push-up. Drop your body down. Inhale to up to cobra pose. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Shake your head, yes, no. And now step your right foot, then your left foot. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Now root down to your feet. Inhale, arms at your sides, hips forward, heart forward. Take a back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, arms down. So 2 more. Let's see what you guys got. Go for it. Inhale, arms up. Again, don't worry if you mess up. Just do the best. Do what feels good. Forward fold. And step your right leg. You're that good. So when you find your really solid high plank, good. Awesome, you guys. Yeah, very good. Okay, so this steadily builds some heat in your body. Very good. You guys, we might try some salutation B too. All right, do 1 more. Very good. Again, move just with your breath. Don't worry about your neighbor on your mat or across the way. Very good. Again, using your breath. Always remembering to breathe. Good. You guys, very strong. Very good. Good, when you finish, come find your Tadasana pose. Awesome. So we're going to do getting a little bit warm, feeling a little bit of heat going. And that's, so again, that's usually when, so the class that I teach at the hot yoga studio, we do only 4 of those in the whole class. But because the room gets anywhere between 90 and 105 degrees, that we can't do a lot of that movement because then you'll just get way too hot. So a lot of our poses are set. You're still working and moving, but if you do too much of the jumping and the sun salutations, you're just get a little too heated. So that was sun salutation A. Now, again, you're doing strong, so if you have the little time, I want to show you B. So it's basically the same, we're just adding up. So it's called chair pose. So you start here, and then you come back into chair pose, and then you drop it down for a forward fold. Then you drop, come back, come into your chaturanga, lift up. Now this is where you switch it. So we're going to do lunges here. So you use that 3-legged dog, and you step forward, and you do a lunge. But for some people, this is challenging. With your back foot up, this is called a high lunge, or crescent lunge, like a crescent moon. But there are modifications. So for people who don't like to do the high lunge, this is Anjaneyasana. This is a low lunge. Or there's a move called Warrior One, where you square your hips and you rotate your back foot. So it's up to you what you'd like. And then you cartwheel your feet and you shoot your leg back up and then you shift forward. So this is all about doing lots of chaturangas. So it's about strengthening your shoulders. So some of you may like that, or some of you may really want to stick your tongue out at me. And that's okay, because adults do it to me all the time. It's all right. I teach college. I know your age. I also know adults. So I can let it roll off me. So this is also an advanced move, doing a single leg push-up. All right. Let's try one of those. And actually get to end with a chair pose too. So, you guys game? All right, let's just try 2 of them. So take our one ambassador. So sorry, he spoke for you. The minority in this group has spoken. All right. Don't worry, you're safe. All right, inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink back like you're sitting in a chair. So this is chair pose. So you want to try, we're going to hold this a little longer so you guys get it right. You want to try to zip your legs together, and you want to try to bring most of the weight to your heels. It's like you're leaning back in a chair. Take one more breath. Now exhale, forward fold. Now take your left leg back and your right leg back. Find your chaturanga. So however you can do it. And then come up to cobra pose. So Bhujangasana, and then tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Now everyone, lift your right leg high to the sky, point your toes. Now look through your hands and step your right foot between. So come into a lunge. If you want to do a high lunge, or if you want to do a low lunge, whichever. Let's stick with those 2 variations, whatever feels good. So again, remember with your lunge, you don't want your knee to stick out over your toe. So you want your thigh parallel. You're trying to get a 90-degree angle. All right, take one last breath here. Now cartwheel your palms, frame that right foot, kick your leg up in the air. Now drop it down. Now inhale the left leg up. Look through your palms, step it through. Come into whatever expression you have on the second side. So whether it's high lunge or low lunge. Again, remember the key here is being set up for safety. So your thigh is parallel. If your knee is sticking way over your ankle or toes, then you scoot your toe further towards the front of the mat. Take one more breath. Now, cartwheel your palms, frame that left foot, shoot your left leg up and back. Now, come forward, do a chaturanga. Inhale to your up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, everyone take one cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Step your right leg forward. Then your left leg forward. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Now, shoot your arms back up for chair pose. So you've got to do another set of chair pose. So hold this for 5 breaths. This is one of the last things I'm going to do with you. So we're going to finish with a bang. Really burn those quadriceps. Last 3, 2, and 1. Forward fold. Now, bend your knees and ragdoll up. So nice, slow, and controlled. So find your Tadasana pose and close your eyes. So we're going to prepare for your resting pose. So soften your shoulders. Now again, that was a quick introduction. I'm going to come back and teach you a different class with those and then some extra poses too. But today, this is just, again, just giving you a little taste. So slowly, this isn't the best transition, but I want you guys to go ahead and come down and lie on your back. So this is your rest. So it's Shavasana. So when I take Shavasana, this is how I go. I took it this morning, and this is exactly what I did. I spread out as wide as I could. So the only recommendation I have for you all is to palms up. So you're not going to do this or anything down. You put your palms down. So put your little stick and put that right out on the floor. But this gym floor is nice and cool. So whenever you close your eyes, so we started practice with about a minute of rest. So I want to give you this 1 minute. So you still have a couple hours, I know, for your day, or just 1 hour. But if you're able to slice out just a couple minutes of breathing, just to take this minute of breathing, you can be surprised how much better you feel. How much more stress, how much be able to handle stress a little bit better. Now keep your eyes closed, and if this were the last period of the day, I'd say everyone roll over to the left side, because that would be for relaxing. In yoga, we talk about sides of your body aligned with the sun and the moon. And so obviously sun, energy. So we still have another class that we used to go to, so everyone roll over to your right side of your body. And kind of get a feel for it. So crawl up into a ball and cradle your head with your biceps. And I want you to take this time to take deep and do that. So on your own, take inhale through the nose, exhale it off through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and take one more. All right, slowly, go ahead and come back up into that easy sitting pose. So Sukhasana, so have your cross-legged pose, or if you have Padmasana or Lotus. Now that we've done a little practice, you might feel a little more open. I cannot get it. I just am not. Again, there are some things that will never change for me, like the way that my bone structure is, and I don't think I'll be able to get that. And I have a lot of muscle, so that kind of gets in the way sometimes. But I'm totally fine with that I'd rather have that. So again, so sit as tall as you can, and so again, don't worry about doing a mudra, but just bring your forearms on your knees, and again, find your nice tall spine. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take one more breath here. So practice again, in through the nose, out through the nose. Now with your next inhale, lift your arms up high. So arms over your head. Now bring your hands together and exhale through your mouth. Now go ahead and open your eyes. Bring your thumbs to your sternum. So this is a mudra. It's actually called Anjali mudra, which is a prayer mudra. And again, it's just a nice way to end class, which I often like to do. So a lot of you have heard the word namaste, and it just means a lot of things. The light in me honors the light in you. My interpretation is the divine in me honors the divine in each and every one of you. So the divine in me honors the divine in each and every one of you. Namaste. All right, thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, if your parents ever go to the Hot for You Yoga Studio, I'm not doing a commercial, but we do, if you're under 18 and your parent comes with you, you can always try it out. But just know, I always tell everyone what you're getting into. But they're offering yoga classes for teens sometimes, and hopefully someday I'll be able to offer them. But, again, I'll be visiting again and taking over for you for one day. So, like it or hate it, I'll be back. But I'll take requests, and we might even do some partner programs. We need to get into those. Yeah, they can be really fun, depending on your partner. But if you're with me and you're tall, then it's really good. So it's better to have people that are about the same height. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Okay? Thank you.